Hi everybody, what is going on with you all today? I am bringing you a story from Screen Rant. In fact, I'm actually bringing you a couple of stories from Screen Rant, and we're also going to be looking over some of the Rotten Tomatoes scoring for Velma. It has a lot to do with this story right here. Scooby-Doo spin-off Velma show review bombed on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. This is not a Scooby-Doo spin-off. It's a complete rip-off and remake by Mindy Kaling, who has created a self-insert show where Velma is an Indian lesbian. And it's probably the worst show I've ever seen. Now, I know that I thought that Rings of Power was bad, but wow, this just takes the cake. I mean, Blood Origin and Willow, which I'm checking out and finally watching after avoiding them forever. I just going into those shows, they are not as bad as this. This is just a nonsense TV show with nothing going for it at all. I just can't believe it. But we're going to read about this today. We're going to go into why they think, of course, we're just review bombing it. Of course, you guys actually love the show. Nobody hates it because it's the best show ever made, right? And the mainstream media, of course, knows this very well. But we're going to read this together. The Scooby-Doo spinoff Velma faces a massive review bombing campaign on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. Set before the Scooby-Doo gang started traveling the world to solve supernatural mysteries, Velma is an animated series that sees the team navigating high school while trying to figure out precisely what mysterious elements are causing murders. Okay, so keep this in mind. They are high schoolers in this, like 15, 16 years old around there, and they are doing some just naughty, horrible things to each other and with themselves throughout the show. It's awful. And it's almost kind of creepy. In fact, it is really creepy now that I think about it. I mean, they really are high schoolers. The show stars Mindy Kaling as Velma, of course, Sam Richardson as Norville, which is the stupidest decision ever made, Constance Wu as Daphne, and Glenn Howerton as Fred, but it doesn't feature the famous talking dog. Instead, the show relies on adult humor that earned it an R rating. Yeah, I guess they just really wanted the R rating so bad that they're just like, okay, just get like the jankiest, most cringe jokes that you possibly can. It doesn't matter how awful jokes they are. Just get them in there so that we can achieve an R rating, okay? And also dismember a bunch of teenagers in that show as well, just like in the old Scooby-Doo series. Wait a minute, that didn't sound too right. Okay, let's keep reading. Unfortunately for the show, it has been the subject of review bombs on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. As of the time of this writing, Velma has an 18% audience score. By the way, it's gotten a lot lower. It's like at 7% or 6% around there, as opposed to its 60% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. On IMDb, the story is the same, with 72% of the audience judging Velma a 1 out of 10. While many already believe that Velma's R rating is a bad idea, that doesn't account for the absolute slam of incredibly negative reviews that come within only hours of the show's release, as only 2 episodes have been aired so far. Keep in mind, once again, this is before everybody was throwing out the reviews. By the way, if you have not seen my Velma review, you are welcome to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. And I hope you all enjoy that one, as I have a special guest that I have implemented into my channel. It's a lot of fun. So, you guys check that out on your own time. Velma features race-blind casting that sees Daphne, Velma, and Norville played by actors who are respectively South Asian, Asian, and Black. It wouldn't be the first time a diverse production has been review bombed due to its diversity. Now, that's definitely, I mean, it is a reason why, but I'm pretty sure that they race swapped everybody on purpose because they wanted to virtue signal, because they wanted us to complain about it so that they could say, oh, see, these guys are just as racist and bigoted as we thought. I can't believe it. We just wanted to be diverse and inclusive. But that's not the case, is it? Because if you actually listen to the jokes of this show, it's incredibly racist, stereotypical. They say terrible things, and it's just an excuse. It's all an excuse. While Velma is relatively smaller in scope, Amazon's Rings of Power was review bombed to the point that Amazon had to suspend reviews to determine which reviewers were being genuine about their opinions or if they were spewing hate for the sake of it. But again, how would Amazon even know this? How would anyone know this? How are you going to decide who's being genuine and who isn't so? And despite the fact that they're genuine or not genuine, why does that give you a right to censor certain reviews and not censor others? That doesn't make any sense, and it's wrong. Oh well, let's just keep reading. The fact that Velma is being bashed almost exclusively by men, oh wow, also hints at the potentially sexist cause of the bombing. IMDb reports that 159 men have reviewed the series with an average rating of 2.1. On the other hand, 18 women have given Velma an average rating of 4.1. 18? Wow, what a huge number. While still not exceptionally high, the larger score does show the disparity between the opinions of men and women in the reviews. Now, I'm pretty sure that, a few days after this article came out, it's been revealed that everybody, even critics, hate this show. And there are numerous videos from women, I might add, slamming the show. So this is a clearly incorrect article here. Of course, that assumes that the reviews are non-genuine. Perhaps there are reasons to dislike Velma. Perhaps! I really do wonder if Screen Rant watched this. If they did, I feel like you're not being too honest about that. There's a lot to dislike about Velma, okay? Even if you're like the most woke person ever, I'm pretty sure if you go into this show, you're not going to enjoy it. I can't see a reason why anyone would enjoy this show to any degree. Yeah, anyway, perhaps there are some reasons to dislike Velma, even if the majority are mired in racism and sexism. Oh, here we go. It just never ends, man. It never ends. They will, how many of you anticipated that they would do this? But that's what they said. They're like, oh, when Velma comes out, people are going to dislike it. So you got to get those articles ready where you have to claim that they're review bombing it, because that's all they have. They can't just admit that their show sucks and everybody hated it, because if they did, then they would actually have to course correct and fix it, or cancel season 2, which is apparently underway. Velma season 2 reportedly confirmed at HBO Max despite backlash. Now, this is also from Screen Rant, and it came out just a day ago. Despite its controversy mired season 1 premiere, the Scooby-Doo spinoff series Velma has already been renewed for a season 2. Why? Did they watch this? Really? Like, did the execs at HBO Max watch this? I was skeptical about a season 2, okay, for Rings of Power. Now, everybody's like, there's no way there's going to be a Rings of Power season 2. And then they're like, okay, there's going to be a season 2, and it's going to be probably worse than the first season. But now they're like saying there's going to be a season 2 of Velma. If there's any show that should not have a second season, it is Velma. It should not have a second season because it's going to be a waste of money at this point. Nobody likes it. But let's read on, because this is really interesting. Velma is an animated comedy series set before the Scooby-Doo gang's adventures in solving mysteries. By the way, Velma, right at the beginning of the show, calls Fred's van a creepy sex van, and I called it a stupid van in my review. She says awful things about all of her compatriots. It's pretty terrible. The show is focused on the titular member of the group, Velma Dinkley, who is actually Mindy Kaling, and her life in high school with Shaggy, Daphne, and Fred without the iconic talking dog Scooby-Doo in the show. Now that I think about it, I'm really glad they didn't put him in there, because I can't even imagine what kind of awful, horrible, crude, and disgustingly creepy things they would have done to Scooby-Doo in that show. Probably made him some kind of alcoholic, drug addict, loser. I don't know. He's a dog, but they've done terrible things with cockroaches in that show, too. If you watch the first 2 minutes of the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, Velma's comedy leans heavily towards adult humor, making it a very different venture from many of the previous Scooby-Doo stories. Hearing the word venture just makes me miss the Venture Bros show, because at least that show knew how to make fun of Scooby-Doo. If you've watched the Venture Brothers, you've probably seen that episode where they had kind of like a caricature making fun of the Scooby-Doo gang while they're like in their 40s and 50s and stuff, and it's pretty hilarious. That's actually done right. This show just does not know how to do that. And people will say, well, the animation's still pretty good. And it's not like the worst animation out there, but it's definitely not as good or memorable as the original Scooby-Doo series and its newer counterparts, like What's New Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. I saw some of the movies as well. Back when I was a kid, I loved those. According to the Entertainment Identifier Registry, Velma Season 2 is in the works at Warner Bros. And HBO Max. The registry shows Velma Season 2 on its own and a list of 11 episodes. Oh, imagine sitting through not just a full season of the first season of Velma, but sitting through a second entire season of all of those stupid jokes that don't make any sense with just a complete lack of constructive plot. Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. And I'm probably going to be sitting through all of those episodes, all the seasons, just so I can show people how terrible of a show is. What a complete disaster. Currently, the popular critic and audience review website's audience score is an unreasonably low 7%. Unreasonably. How could you defend this, Screen Rant? Oh my goodness. With 2,410 audience reviews compared to its 53% rating among 19 critics' reviews. I just... How are they saying that? Unreasonably low. Like, what do you want it to be, your Screen Rant? What do you think it should be? Do you think it should be a 20, 30%? Do you think it's a 100% show? What is wrong with you? Critic reviews for Velma have been split. No, it is not. With positive reviews often commending some of the comedic moments and most negative reviews pointing to issues with the show's actual story. Gee, finally you got something right, but of course they're only being half correct again. Among audiences, though, reviews have been overwhelmingly negative. Some Scooby-Doo fans had concerns about Velma when the adult-themed nature of the show was revealed, but the Velma series has also had to weather a storm of criticism from extremely toxic and oftentimes hateful reviews since the show's release. That has included the show being review bombed with negative ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and other review websites. I mean, what did you expect? This is what I don't understand. Why mainstream news websites like Screen Rant and others like them who are defending this show it does not make sense why they do this. I really do wonder if some of these people actually watch the shows that they defend. Because if any sane person sat through 5 minutes of this show, even the first couple of minutes when you see the two cockroaches come out from behind a corner and start doing things, okay, I'm telling you, that is the rest of the TV show. That's all you have to expect. There's just nothing sane about that show, and anybody who likes it, I don't know what to say. I really don't. There's been plenty of valid criticism of the show, but much of the negativity surrounding it has been in very bad faith. The toxic review bombing was a response to the show's race-blind casting, which is actually something they point out at the beginning of the show, because of course they do that. But like they say right at the beginning, it's like, oh, race-blind casting, as she like whacks Daphne with a hockey stick or whatever she hit her with. And they make jokes about the show itself being stupid. Specifically with Velma being of Asian descent in the new series, as Kayling is in real life. While most Scooby-Doo fans understood and even applauded the decision, I mean, you need to point those Scooby-Doo fans out to me because I have no idea who they are, and I've never seen anybody be like, oh my goodness, what a great new refreshing take. I can't believe Mindy Kaling is now Velma. No, I've never heard anybody super excited about that. But okay, let's read on. It still led to a substantial level of racist backlash to Velma from toxic individuals and groups, right? Like those 18 women who said that the show was absolutely incredible. And they're saying like, oh, only a small group of people said that they disliked it. Yeah, but earlier you said that a small group of people liked it. So you're all hypocrites. You're hypocrites and you're liars, and nobody believes you. Nobody's buying this BS, okay? Look at Velma's Rotten Tomatoes score. Just look at that, okay? It is a 7% average audience score, okay? 55% is not a good score for critics either. That is not split. This is overwhelmingly negative, okay? Because people already have a hard time believing critics from Rotten Tomatoes these days. They already have a hard time with it. Many shows that they have just like put up to like 85 and 95%, like The Rings of Power, turned out to be completely incorrect because The Rings of Power is such a garbage TV show. And now we're getting reviews. We're getting reviews from critics who dislike this show, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is the best show ever. Like, where's the proof in that? There's no proof. Look at this. Look at this score. Does that tell you that this is a good TV show? No, it doesn't. Okay, even if you go to like the first season and you go down to like the audience reviews, check this out, okay? My goodness gracious, look at all those 1-star, half stars. Okay, you can't see all of them, but just check this out. Those responsible for this show should be ashamed. 100%, okay? But they're going to have a season 2? That is mind-blowing. I mean, the other episodes, I think episode 3 comes out maybe Thursday, Friday, and I'm going to be watching that, but it's not out of enjoyment. I think people just need to know. They need to know how bad this show is. They cannot be allowed to continue to do things like this, to ruin all of these franchises. I mean, if Mindy wanted to, she could have made her own show. But they knew that people were not going to watch it unless they attached the name to Scooby-Doo somehow. And so they did it. And now they have their woke show. And what's the result? It's widely disliked, widely hated. Nobody likes it. Look at that score, okay? I hope you all have a beautiful day. Like and share this video. And if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing, clicking that notification bell. I hope to see you all again next time. Say goodbye, Play-Doh.